Hi, I'm Susan McMullen, and I work at Hudson Valley in down in New City. And I am in business 20 years. I did take a little break in between, and I have been back for a good 8 years now, full force. And I'm also in leadership. I am the growth partner at Hudson Valley, and I recruit as well.
I'm Nina Porter. I work for Keller Williams Hudson Valley North, and I've been in the business for 22 years, and I've been in the same area for almost 19 going on 20.
I'm Dave. I'm at the Hudson Valley North office. I've been licensed. I'm going on my 4th year now. I was in the food business before that. That's about it for me.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. All right, so we'll just dive in here. And anybody in the Zoom room, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. We'll address that after each section. Okay, so first off, and these are really loose questions. I just wanted some kind of guide that we could have this conversation around. So how has your listing lead generation technique changed since you first started in the business, if at all? Have you really come into your own in a certain way of lead generating or finding listings? We'll start with Susan, if you don't mind, Susan.
Okay. So, when I first got back into the business, I was, my sphere was not as big as I would like it to be. So I went really heavy into expired listings. And I got really good at that. And it has helped me in the last 8 years now. In the last 2 years, I really work out of my sphere. But I have to tell you, if when you call an expired listing, they're usually mad, they're upset, it's always the agent's fault. So you have to really have good objections to handle them. And it has helped me bring my business where it is today. And now sorry about that. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm working from home.
So it has helped me build my business, and now I primarily work out of my sphere.
Great. That's awesome. So you started building with expired now because you kept in touch with continuously with like old clients or friends and families. Now you have a really good sphere to work from. That's
right. Great. I have built that up, and I've done, multiple things, and those people have generated business for me now, and they're in my sphere as well. So they're my past clients.
Awesome. Dulce, what about you?
Well, when I first started in real estate, I focused on for sale by owners. I drove all over Middletown because at the time, that's where I lived and that's what I knew. And I wrote down every address, every phone number, and then I would go back to the office or home and do some research. And at the time, we didn't have the tools that we have now. And that's how I got most of my first listings. And I do expires, especially now, because the shortage of inventory is huge. And I have an abundance of buyers that are looking in different price ranges. So what I do is I try to find expires that fit the needs of my buyers. So when I call them, it is a real call. It's not just fishing for listings. I tell them I have a qualified buyer ready, able, and willing to buy. I know your listing expired. Would you reconsider relisting, or would you consider allowing me to show the house so that maybe we can come to a meetings of the mind? And that is actually working right now. That's actually working.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful. That's like the dream, right? Where you're mining for your own listings and closing both sides.
With the limitation that we have on some of the calls that we can make, this is a perfect reason to reach out to these expires without getting in any kind of trouble,
Right.
And right now I have 2 deals that are off the MLS because, we put them together that way.
Wow. That's great. And so do you think that it's working better now than it would in a normal market?
I think right now, when you call an expired, I mean, first of all, like Susan said before, they always blame the agent, but sometimes there's a problem with the house. Nobody has told them, listen, you need to declutter, you need to clean, you need to start packing and pretend that you're leaving, because in order for your house to sell, it has to show better. And I'm going to tell you, at this stage, I'm not afraid to tell them you need to clean the house, or I tell them, there's an offensive odor in the house that you have to eliminate, whether it's pets or whether it's smoking, or different things that when you bring a buyer through a house, you don't want to experience that.
Right.
So
Right.
sometimes they're grateful that I'm honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes they might not be too happy, but to me, honesty is the best policy,
Yes. I agree. That's
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
Nina, how about you?
Well, I was saying to Corinne that I should not be on this panel because I do no lead generation. But I've been in a second home market, and basically 99% of my sales are in this one town. And I get a lot of referrals, and I get repeat clients. And I think that, what has worked for me just, and it's not a strategy, but I love people and I really like to connect with people, and which probably most people do in this business, but I care, and people can feel that. So
Yes.
I feel like I've had a pretty successful run. I could have grown my business exponentially, but I like work-life balance, and I really like to play. And so I'm able to, have a pretty nice income and time to, frolic in the woods and be with my dog and play with my kids. And so it's worked well for me.
Can I
And
add something? Can I add something to that? I talk to a lot of new agents, and I try to give some guidance to new agents, and I always tell them people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I like what you just said, Nina, that you really care about your people, and if you're coming from a place of contribution, that's the best way to get some business.
Yeah, absolutely. And people can smell you. They know whether you're being authentic or whether you're
Sure,
not. They know
sure.
whether, I'm totally non-self-serving. Like if it doesn't work out, a sale doesn't work out, I'm good with it. I'm fine to walk away. I don't, my business is being in service 100%. And,
That's awesome.
and the benefit to that is, people like to work with you.
absolutely. And Nina, you should absolutely be here. Please stop. Dave, what about you? How has your lead generation technique changed, if at all?
It hasn't really changed, and I'm happy that Nina went before me because I don't do anything to create leads for myself. I'm kind of intertwined within like the business community in the areas that I work, and what I did from day one as an agent was I did blogs to promote their businesses, because I didn't really have the need to support. I actually felt there was a bigger benefit to like supporting an area and a business than it is like just on a house. So I get actually all of my leads organically through area businesses and just like past referrals. But I haven't changed that. Like once I figured out what I was doing was working, I just kind of doubled down on that. Other area businesses started talking to other businesses about how I promote their business, and it opened up a lot of doors for me that I could start advertising my listings at their storefronts, or even just verbally, like they would tell their own customers, that I was a good person to list with and everything else. So. everything was organic with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really interesting point, right? Because it might not be very intentional lead generation techniques that you're applying, like doing a Facebook ad or calling FISBOs or expireds, but you're actually finding, and same thing with Nina, you work in a very niche market, whether that be a very specified area or working as you do, right, with the business owners. So you found these niches that you've really developed yourself in, and then it just happens organically that, as you said, you get word of mouth. But that the mindset of lead generation can be just that. It doesn't have to be an intentional catch-all of these like pointed specific lead generation activities. It can also be like, what market and what niche do I need to get into in order to really like start the ball rolling on my business.
I wanted to add to that you know, the other thing is just like, I think becoming part of your community is really important. And you know, I'm on a couple of boards, and I'm active in some fundraising, nonprofit kinds of activities, and that's been great. And then I also have taught yoga and group exercise classes and things too. And that's and I ski, and so you know, you're out in the community. You become a community member. You're part of a community.
Absolutely. I always thought real estate was such a great, interesting job because you could just naturally build your business by engaging, just as you said, in the activities that you're interested in. Okay, so kind of building off of that, some of you already addressed this a little bit. How does the service that you provide your sellers affect additional potential business? So as you said, most of you are referral based, you're working from your sphere. So how is that service portion really crucial? And if so, how much? Susan, do you want to go?
Yes. So for me, I think, you know, everyone touched a little bit on it, is to be authentic just comes out of you. People could feel that, you know, and I feel that from coming from contribution and really caring has always given me the opportunity for people to always refer me and call me back for if they need services, or if somebody in their family needs services. It's just who I am. You know, I can't stress enough. And I really liked what Dulce said about when she tells the new agents, you know, it's not about what you know, it's how much you care. They have to trust you first before you could go and it's not about us, it's about them. And of course they want to know that you have experience, but at the end of the day, they want to trust you. And that's what helped me with my business, is just being authentic, coming from contribution, and really caring.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's hard, right? Sometimes it's hard to, especially as a new agent, to not feel overwhelmed by maybe your lack of knowledge, or just some questions that you constantly have, and you don't maybe not feel that level of confidence. But I think, to your point, it's so important to just approach every person as a person and really listen first, right?
Right. And honesty is the best policy, like they said. So, you know, that's important. That's very important.
Dulce, how about you?
Well, I'm going to say that 85% of my business is referral business. I've been doing this for 20 years, as I stated before. And at the beginning, I was really just doing a lot of buyers and my few FISBOs that I got here and there. But now, 20 years later, these buyers are now becoming sellers. And not only that, they're also referring their kids, their cousin, their mother, you know. I do a lot with the Latino community, and they're very loyal. If you treat them well, they keep coming back. Actually, they never go away. Okay. So I've been very fortunate that way, and that's truly my niche since I started in real estate. I mean, I service everybody, but there is particular, you know, group of people that always keep coming back to me. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I speak Spanish as well, but it's not just the language, it's the service and the caring that I give them. If you know, when I started in this business, there's a woman that works here in my office. Her name is Brenda Owens Milner, okay? I know that we are big about numbers, okay? And Brenda said to me at the beginning of my career, because Brenda actually saw me my first house, she said, you know what? Forget about the numbers and think about the people. If you service them, the money is going to follow. And she was 100% right, you know?
Yeah, that's great. It's great advice. And I think that for new agents or burgeoning agents, right, it's about taking your time in the transaction and really paying attention to your clients and not really getting bogged down by a lot of the other stuff, right? Because the other stuff doesn't matter. It's all about your listening skills and really your coaching skills and your authenticity that you can provide your clients.
I tell a lot of new agents, I said, listen, when you go there and they ask about your experience, you tell them, don't worry about that. I have a whole team behind me in the office that I can go back for information. The good thing is that I have no other clients, so I can give you my undivided attention. And a lot of times because I use that at the beginning, and a lot of times they like that because sometimes, you know, busy agents, top producers are so busy that they forget to call you back. They forget to stay in touch because they have so much on their plate.
Yeah, that's true. It's an advantage, really, if you play it that way.
Yeah.
Nina, how about you?
Yeah, I think, you know, you provide good service and you take good care of people and they refer you. The proof is in the pudding, bottom line. And,
Yep.
you know, for me, like I've sold I worked with some people this year, like sold a $30,000 piece of land and a $60,000 condo that was kind of a little bit messy. And people are just so grateful. And I think that, you know, you're putting like positive karma out into the atmosphere there. But yeah, you know, I'm responsive and people know that. And even 5 years later, I don't keep in touch with people, but people will reach back and they'll say, oh, you know, I'm looking for a septic guy, or people remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point, Nina, right? Because your service doesn't necessarily have to end when the transaction ends either, right? You can continue to help those people throughout their whole lifetime careers in their houses to hopefully eventually the next time they do move, that service is just continued naturally, right?
Yeah, and they let people know about you, bottom line.
And Dave, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think it also kind of comes down to that, you know, you got to understand the different personalities that you're dealing with, and adapt to that because people come from everywhere. You know, you do have to provide a lot of services even after the sale. You know, and but you have people from outside the area that you don't know as well to help them align them with the right people that will also be good with them, because that's a extension of our referral. Is if you have like attorneys that you recommend, if your clients ask you, you should keep in mind, you know, like their personalities when you're aligning them up with the sellers. Like so on and so forth through the whole entire transaction.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And that's a great point. You know, that it's really important to have maybe a couple of people in each of these categories, right? Just in case maybe one personality works really well with some people and maybe not others. I think that's a great point.
But like certain attorneys are not great with having to hold the hands of a first-time home buyer, and you have to be able to recognize that, and also have a couple that are really good with attorneys.
Right. Yeah, that's wonderful. And then, so as we're saying, right, most of your businesses come from referral business now. And how do you communicate with those people that are in your, I know this is Nina's favorite question. How do you communicate with those people in your database or your sphere of influence? Does it happen naturally and organically when you're out in your specific community, right, that you're working in? Or do you really make an intentional effort to put people on smart plans or to send out postcards? Or how do you best communicate with those people? Even maybe it's just social media because you have a great following there.
So I do a little bit of all. So some of my sphere obviously is close people in my close knit that just no matter what, if they hear about somebody looking to buy or sell, it's going to be, you know, they're going to refer me to them. Those are the people that I see all the time and that are around. Then I also have, you know, we have the command. So I have smart plans and I have people in there, certain people are different levels. I have my past clients, my just people that are cold from from getting leads from the Facebook now that we have. I add everybody on smart plans. I have certain birthdays that, you know, are sent out. And I also have tasks for myself, who to reach out to and when. I have little notes to say, okay, so when I go into command, it says to me, you know, reach out to so-and-so because I haven't talked to them in 2 months or 3 months, and reach out to this person because, you know, somebody told me they're thinking of possibly buying a second home. And, you know, so I give myself notes and that's how I work right out of my database. And of course, you know, being in the community as well, I'm very, you know, I have 3 children that went to schools through here. I know a lot of people in the community. And I also was in the bar and restaurant business for many years. I owned my own bar restaurant. So I know a lot of people. So I'm always out there and just, you know, networking as well.
Yeah, yeah. And Susan, do you find that you have, like, it's effective to set those tasks for yourself, and when you follow up, you have really productive conversations with those people that result in business?
Absolutely, you know, because you get so busy in your everyday life, you forget, you know, you know how many times I forgot, like, oh my God, I sold that house only this long ago, because we're very busy people, as you know, everything is right now. It's like, it's never, you know, we don't have a 9 to 5. It's not like we shut it off. It's our phones are always going. We're always answering, you know, dealing with another crisis or something that's happening, and you forget. So those tasks are so important. So important.
Great, great. I'm really happy that you find success with that, because I do think as well, I've seen so many other agents, and that becomes really key to their business, to be mindfully in touch with people, right?
Yes.
Dulce, how about you?
Well, I do a lot of calling. I mean, I took advantage during, you know, March, April, and May, when we were, you know, staying home mostly. And I called a lot of people. I spoke to a lot of people, you know, just showing them that, you know, wanted to make sure that they were fine, their family was fine. Annually, every year I send out calendars with my business cards so they can, you know, put them on the refrigerator. I mean, I've had people call me and say, hey, I didn't get my calendar, because I've been doing it for so long that they already expect it, you know. And I send out, you know, some stuff. I don't do a lot of social media, not because I don't like it. I just don't even have time for it. So I have an assistant, and she helps me with some of that. And she's got some plans set up in command that I don't even know about. They just, you know, the wheels are turning. They're working, you know. But, you know, my big thing is the phone. I'm on the phone maybe 12 hours a day, without a doubt, you know, with people. You know, I get one phone call after the other. You know, like right now it's going off, but I have the volume off, you know.
Well, thank you.
So
Yeah, communicate. So you're in constant communication in
yeah,
one form or another. Yeah. That's how you keep the wheels turning, right?
yeah.
And Nina, how about you?
So this year I created a calendar of, do a lot of hiking, of photos in the Catskills, and sent that out. It was a big one. It was pretty expensive, and sent that out to 100 of my best clients. And that's like the first marketing I've ever done. And I probably will do that again next year, just because it's you know, it was pretty, and it's a nice thing for people. It's not salesy, and I'm not salesy, so that was good. And then, you know, I ski, so I bump into past clients a lot, and we have a walking path here, and I walk regularly, and I'm always bumping into people that I've sold houses to. So, and mountain biking too. So that kind of keeps my face up front and center. I'm a newer Keller agent, so I do, for houses that I've sold since Keller Williams, I put them into a smart plan so I can reach out to them in a year. And at some point I was thinking it'd be kind of fun just to start Googling people's birthdays to send them birthday cards. And so that's what I do.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the calendars idea. I really do, because then you can, like you did, you know, you can kind of personalize it to the area that they are living in or working in, or to your own personality, right? That even like underlines to your clients even more like who you are and what you represent. And yeah, I think that's
and then, you know, it says Nina Porter, Keller Williams on the bottom of every page, so they see me 12 months a year if they use the calendar.
Yeah. And do you think, like, have people mentioned it to you? You know, they're like, oh, I love the calendar, or what was the feedback?
Yeah, a few people have. Yeah.
Great, great. Dave, how about you? How do you communicate?
I do a lot of text messages, just to the like business owners directly. I changed it around a little bit this year where we started to do like some videos and stuff. I work with I was in the food business like my whole life, and I'm still kind of intertwined in it. So when the whole pandemic started, I reached out to them and we made a couple funny videos. You know, like I went up to the pizzeria, and because like they were trying to sell all of these things, you know, like to make your own like pizza kits, and stuff like that. So we started to do some videos because the average person doesn't know how to do that. And that just kind of kept me out in front of people when you couldn't really be in front of anybody. The other thing that I have is I have a small town, like custom cut butcher shop, where through the pandemic, when there was this scare for not having beef, I have a lot of beef. So even though it's not indirectly related to real estate in really any way, just being able to offer people beef, and being able to talk to people really helped me get a lot of listings right out of the gate as soon as we were able to.
Yeah.
Starts to go back to business as it is now, you know, under restrictions, but able to do business.
Yeah, Dave, I
So
always
it's a
thought that
little
the way you run your
unconventional.
business is so interesting, and that you really partner with restaurants and other small businesses. I think it's so smart, and it really, I think it makes it sustainable for you too, right? Like you don't have to do these maybe other types of lead generation because you're so enmeshed in your community, and it's just like a sprawl effect, right? If somebody sees you partnered with this restaurant or you giving out beef, right, then they instantly know to tell their friends and family about that as well.
Yeah, it was actually kind of weird how the whole thing kind of worked out that way. I didn't expect to get the response I got right after, to get so many listings right away from it, but a lot of people were just, they were, I was interconnected with them, like selling beef to them or, you know, something, but it was an unexpected thing that worked very well. So now I'm planning kind of the next step to there's a bunch of farms around by me, like apple farms, you know, that do apple cider donuts and stuff like that. And what I did was I got a lot of riders to promote their businesses. So if I have a house within a couple miles of the farm, I have a rider that says, you know, it's the home of the world famous Boehm's Apple Farm Cider Donuts. And it gives people kind of that feel good feeling. And again, even though it was not intentional, the businesses really like the support that I was giving them, like during the pandemic. And it's, I mean, how much did it cost me for the rider? A few bucks. I mean, $4 or $5. So
Yeah, yeah, and you were planning that well ahead of time. So just think it's just underlines the fact that you thinking ahead really pays off, and also having these things kind of systematized. Like you might do this year after year after year now, and you know when to order the riders, you know when to plan it, and then you're doing double duty, right? Because you're talking to the business owners and engaging them, and also engaging the homeowners and making them feel even more connected to the area where they're buying or selling too. So I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
also too, I just want to add to it that when I talk to the sellers about sticking a small rider on the sign that's out in front of their house that's advertising a local business, they absolutely love it because the business also has agreed that I can advertise my listings up at their properties. So it seems to almost kind of get where it almost kind of gets like legs of its own, and it's like a continuous stream of leads that way for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so if you could categorize or name the major source of business, what it would be, I think we already kind of went through this. It would be referrals for sure for most of you. If there's is there any other source of business that besides referrals really makes up the majority of your businesses?
Well, like I said, I used to be like crazy with expireds. Like that was my thing. Right now, there's really no expireds. So, and like I've evolved into my sphere as years have gone on. But in the beginning, that was I'd say more than 50% of my listings were from expireds. So it's a great way to, when you start out in your business, if you're moving up, like I used to be the productivity coach. So I would, I would do power hour with the agents in the morning, and I would teach them, and they would listen to me call people, and it would give them motivation to also, and a lot of them would get listings. It was great. It was a great way to start out your business when you're starting out and you don't have much of a sphere or past client, anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. And then it probably gives you more confidence to just call your own network, right? As after you have that script down with people that you don't necessarily know, you feel more confident calling the people you know and love too.
Right. It's a lot easier call.
Yeah. There is a question in the chat. Do you guys believe or participate in third-party marketing like Market Leader, Street Text, or Bold Leads? Anybody participate in a third-party lead generation service, even maybe Zillow leads or anything like that?
Sorry, Susan, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. You go. Go ahead.
No, I just signed up with Market Leader, but I told them that I only wanted listing leads. Okay. So this is brand new to me, so I don't have any results yet.
Mm-hmm. So I did Zillow early on. It's very expensive, but it definitely pays for itself. I don't do it. I haven't done it in the last 3 years. And then this past year, I tried Realtor.com. It was very cheap, and I have to be honest, I got a lot of good leads from it. Buyers, not listings, but from one of my buyers, and they recommended me to somebody that I got a listing from. But Realtor.com doesn't do it down in Rockland anymore, which kind of stinks because they're very affordable. So I'm just basically working off my sphere right now. I don't have anything, but that's another way to, and now with Command, I mean, you run an ad and you get a lot of leads. So Command is really helping with that as well. I'm always constantly running an ad once a week, getting new people into my database. So that's kind of helped me as well build, but I don't do it anymore. I don't have any outsource right now.
Yeah. Nina or Dave, I don't think either of you do those third parties. Do you, Dave?
No.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about what they have to try to sell me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that it could be helpful, right, for an agent who maybe is in a middle point or beginning stage where they have some funds to put back into their business. I think that is like my recommendation from working with agents. If you have several closings under your belt and you have money that you want to reinvest into your business, into those third-party sites, then maybe that would be worth considering. But I think there's so many options to organically kickstart your business at first that you should definitely try those before you're putting out any money. That's just my opinion though. So we spoke about this too, is there a niche or population segment that you market to or socialize with specifically that has positively affected your business? So I think that this whole conversation really just underlines that this is really important, right? To really find where you're specializing and what you specialize in, and just digging in deeper and deeper into that to own it and to really just refine your skills around that. So either with Dave, it's the restaurant and small business market, maybe the Latino population, wherever you live, whatever your organic community is really important to connect to and identify, I think. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
No, I think that, we all pretty much touched on that. We have our sphere, I have first time I go from, because I have kids and they're in their 30s to 20s and first time home buyers to people that are, to people that I do very well with older people as well, because I'm nurturing and I hold hands and, so I'm like pretty much all over, and that's what comes to you. I think, like Nina said, she gets, it's genuine. So those people seek you out. They know, like friends of my kids, their parents, they're like, oh, you got to go to Susan because she'll take care of you. She'll make sure everything's okay. So, that's really, and I don't do too much on social media, but I really probably should do more. I have to push myself a little bit, but yeah, that's just adding that little touch.
I think it's also important to ask the attorneys that you do a lot of transactions with to give you referrals as well. They're usually on the front lines of estates and things like that. So if you can build a relationship with attorneys you're working with or accountants that you're working with, that will give you a good source for leads and for sales.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know in the city, that was a huge thing to work with the state attorneys. And I thanks for reminding me of that, because getting into relationship with those vendors, right, and having that personalized vendor affiliate program or that sphere around you of people and services that you engage with, it just creates an organic referral business back and forth from those people. So I think that's really important. And even especially for newer agents or agents that have been doing business but maybe haven't established that, it hits the head on providing exceptional service to your clients, right? Because you have these vetted preferred vendors, and it also creates an organic referral like flow between you and those people.
I just want to add that, volunteering in a community is a really good way. I volunteer with the Adaptive Sports Foundation, specifically with the Wounded Warrior program. And, I never got into this because of real estate, but I've gotten so many referrals through that, and it's been awesome.
I think that's great. And I mean, pretty much these questions were already touched on, but I just wanted to open up the chat to anybody. You can come off mute or you can type your question to the chat, any specific questions that you have or general questions for the panel. Please feel free to open up. Everybody's shy. That's okay. But yeah, I think that this was a really nice conversation, and I appreciate everybody being here and participating. I hope that it opened up your guys' minds into how other options for lead generation and maybe what the underpinnings of a good business and a big consistent business really are. So yeah, and just keep an eye out for all of you that registered for a follow-up email, likely tomorrow morning, with additional resources and some more information about the listing series in your email inbox. But thank you, everybody.
I'd like to make a recommendation. Some of the newer agents that don't have any business, it would be a good idea for them to connect or try to connect with a top producing agent that might have an overflow of leads, and they might be able to get some good leads from that agent, and they can either work together or pay a referral fee. You know, a lot of times people get upset when they say, oh, I don't want to pay a referral fee. And I always say, well, that's a piece of business you didn't have. So, you know, if I have no problem. Today I got 2 referrals from agents in Queens. I don't mind working those referrals because that's a piece of business I didn't have, and I don't know what else that business is going to bring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the key. You know, you get that now, but then that's going to bring you more business. That's the key right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think, to your point, Dulce, too, if anybody in any of the offices has a question on, oh, I don't know anybody in my market center yet, you know, I'm a new agent, please feel free to reach out to your team leader, your MCA, your ASC, anybody in the leadership team of your market center, because we know the agents and we are happy, more than happy, to connect people to each other to really grow their businesses together and learn from one another. I think that's so valuable, and that's really a huge part of our culture here too. So if you want to be connected with an agent or a couple of agents that you might be compatible with, please reach out. All right. Anybody else have any closing remarks? Or I think this was a great conversation. I just wanted to thank everybody again for participating.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.